Hi all! In this video, we'll see how to share content in SwiftUI using ShareLink. ShareLink is the native SwiftUI way to present the system share sheet. It lets us share text, URLs, encoded objects, and even objects of custom types, without falling back to UIKit. Using the ShareLink is easy. We give it an item to share, SwiftUI presents the share sheet, and the system decides which actions are available based on the type of that item and the installed apps. ShareLink has various initializers, which we can use to customize the share button appearance and the preview of the shared content. We'll begin with the simplest possible case, sharing a string. All we do is to add a single ShareLink instance, passing a plain text value as the item. Because we don't provide a label, SwiftUI automatically creates a default share button for us. Just that is enough and the ShareLink works. It appears with no extra effort. Next, we'll share a URL, which is a common real-world scenario. Before adding ShareLink, let's declare a property to keep the URL first. This initializer returns an optional URL value. Inside the view, we unwrap it using an if-let statement and then show the ShareLink with a valid URL as the item. Once again, the system understands what we are sharing and adapts the share sheet automatically. In both previous examples, the share button has the default label. The easiest way to change it is to use another ShareLink initializer that accepts a title and the item. This affects only the button appearance, not sharing. For full control over the button, we can provide a custom label view. In this example, instead of just a text title, we add a label with text and an SF symbol. Note that the content here can be any view, not just a label. Say that the button now uses the custom icon and title provided in the label. Let's focus now a bit on the content of ShareLink. When the mail app is among the shared destinations, then we can provide two additional values, subject and message. If you choose to share via email using this ShareLink initializer in a real device, then both subject and message will prefill the respective fields in the new draft email. But it's important to know that not every destination uses them. They are applied only when the selected destination by the user, like Mail app, supports these fields. Now let's focus on the share preview. By default, the system generates a preview automatically based on what we are sharing. However, ShareLink allows us to override that by providing a share preview. This time, we add a preview parameter and we initialize a share preview value. The share preview initializer accepts two things, a title and an image. For the image, you'd better use a real one from the assets catalog, like a simple icon. A custom title and image make the preview of the shared content clear. Next, let's share a custom type. For the sake of the example, we introduce a simple custom type, the user struct. It contains two properties, the username and an access level. See that the type conforms to codable. That gives us a standard way to encode and decode the value, for example into JSON. It also conforms to Transferable. This conformance is required when we need to share a custom type directly using ShareLink. As part of the Transferable requirement, we implement the transfer representation property. This property describes how the value should be exported. We use a codable representation here, which means a user instance will be encoded using codable when it's shared. Now let's add a user property in the view. Time for the ShareLink now. As you can see, nothing special changes here, as all the preparation to share the user instance has already been done. ShareLink understands how to share our own type because we explicitly told it how. Finally, let's look at an alternative approach to share an object. Instead of sharing the user value itself here, let's encode it manually using JSON encoder. that gives us a data value. Once we have that data, we pass it directly to ShareLink as the item. Because we are sharing data, the user type doesn't need to conform to transferable anymore. We can just remove the conformance along with the transfer representation required property. We are no longer sharing the object, we are sharing an encoded representation of it. So, the distinction is simple. Use transferable when you want to share a custom type, or share data when handling the encoding yourself. Both approaches are correct. Which one you choose depends on what your app needs to share. And that's ShareLink in SwiftUI. We started with plain text, moved on to URLs, customized the button, added subject and message metadata, controlled the preview, and finally shared the custom type, both with and without transferable. ShareLink also works on macOS, but the concept stays the same across platforms. If you like reading, then you'll find a written tutorial linked below. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.